Again, it's going to sound ridiculous, and for those who are uneducated, they'll blast me on the internet and say that I'm full of it. But the fact of the matter is, this is very much provable stuff. I've had people write me and say that the Science in 2012 Enigma is ridiculous. Well, go to reciprocalsystem.com, read Dewey Larson's books, because there's several of them, and find out for yourself how he breaks down every single problem in quantum mechanics and shows you got to have three-dimensional time. So all we're saying is, if you can get over into time-space, it's going to look like everything does here, because every atom and molecule around me right now is here because it's exchanging with time-space. So there's time-space stuff in every place around me. That means all this stuff exists as a parallel structure in a parallel universe. And when you go over there, it becomes your three dimensions of space. So there's time-space stuff in every place around me. That means all this stuff exists as a parallel structure in a parallel universe. And when you go over there, it becomes your three dimensions of space. So there's time-space stuff in every place around me. That means all this stuff exists as a parallel structure in a parallel universe. And when you go over there, it becomes your three dimensions of space. It's going to look the same because the energy of it is the same energy that's here in space-time. Now here's where it gets really confusing, if it's not already confusing. See, my mind, I don't have to worry about this stuff. It comes in very naturally. You actually have an energetic pair to your physical body, which is in time-space, okay? But there are all these bonuses that your energy body has in time-space that your physical body doesn't have here. What I'm literally telling you is that every nook and cranny, every little funny fold of your brain exists as a parallel, energetic structure that is coupled with the cells in your brain, that interfaces with the cells in your brain, that interfaces with every molecule of DNA in your body. And that is where all thought processes are actually occurring. They're not occurring in your nervous system at all in terms of intellect. The body does produce certain forms of thought. You have an autonomic nervous system. You have a cerebellum that keeps you from falling over. It makes sure that you're balanced by working with the fluid in the chamber of your ear, the cochlea. You have all of the basic systems that are going to make sure that your heart is beating, that your lungs are breathing, that your eyes are not taking in all the information peripherally so that you can focus on what you're looking at. You have a screening mechanism that's going to screen out background noise so that if there's a television on and somebody's talking to you, you're going to listen to them talking and not hear the television. You're not going to hear all the input and weigh it the same. Those types of things are biologically driven systems. The body makes those thoughts for you. But all of the actual intellect, all of the actual thinking that you're going to be doing in your mind is not in the body at all. You have a parallel body, a parallel brain, a parallel nervous system that is an energetic nervous system. But it doesn't look like your physical body because your physical body doesn't have billions and billions of strings coming out of it. It doesn't have an instantaneous energetic connection that you can visibly see to everything else in its environment.
I was sitting with closed eyes, but I saw very clearly something opened inside. The moment that opened inside, I was able to see whole 360 degree without opening my eyes. My eyes was closed, but I was able to see complete 360 degree. Whatever was happening in the front, side, back, side, and up, down, all the direction. Not only I was able to see, I was able to feel clearly how much you all are alive inside your skin. How much you all are alive. We are all alive inside our skin. We can feel we are living inside our skin. Same way, same intensity, I was able to feel I am alive in everything I was able to see.
What I'm asking you to visualize as strings is actually simply an energy field. And in time-space, you are part of that energy field, and your mind is not simply that which is created within your own energy field. It very much is affected by all these other things that are around you, including the thoughts of other people. The very fascinating case of Norman Mailer, famous novelist who wrote a novel called Barbary Shore. In this novel, he starts out writing about one main character and gradually changes the novel to write about a Russian spy. The Russian spy becomes the focus of the entire novel. He goes into great detail. Within the same week that he finishes Barbary Shore, a Russian spy was arrested in his same building that he was living in. Just up the stairs and down the hallway. Now, does this mean that there was a conduit that was going through the air vent so that he could hear what this guy was saying? Of course not. What it does mean, though, is that that man was so emotionally charged because he was on the edge of his rope and he knew he was going to get caught, that his mind was sending out signals. And Norman Mailer's mind is an energetic phenomenon which is sensitive to its environment and picked up the signals that were being generated. Now again, I talked about the experiment where buckyballs are shot through a 100 nanometer grate, a little tiny slit. They turn into a wave just by hitting the grate. It's like it makes them flip inside out and go from space-time, where they're a particle, into time-space. That solid particle, which has 120 atoms in it, it's not just like some tiny little thing. It's a ball. It's got structure. It's got form. It's got shape. It literally popped out of our space-time entirely. It flipped over into a realm where time is three-dimensional, space is one-dimensional, and it smears out. It's partly in the past, it's partly in the present, it's partly in the future. And in that state, it looks like a wave because you can't measure where everything is anymore. So now get a load of this. The DNA molecule is only slightly wider than a buckyball, which means the DNA molecule is also subject to quantum effects, in which the molecules within your DNA are phasing between being here in space-time and being in time-space, where they actually are stretched out through linear time. And they're sensitive to all the other energy fields around them.